All right, welcome into the BFR Podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave. I cover the Bears for Sports Mockery. You can check out all Chicago Bears sports-related news over there. I'm joined by my good friend, co-host Ficky. It's Ficky Baby on all socials. You can follow the pod at BFR_pod on all socials as well. And we don't have much to talk about today, to be honest. No, Justin Fields, the trade happened. Honestly, we actually missed two big ones. So we recorded last week, Ficky. We missed the Keenan Allen news by like 30 minutes after we ended the live stream. So we'll talk about that later on. But right now, Justin Fields was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers late last night. I'm sorry we couldn't go live for you then. I was actually on a weekend vacation. I was like, no way, news happens today. The Bears were flirting with potentially trading Justin, at least the news. Felt like it was just rumor after rumor. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a weekend. And of course, that's when the news broke. So, Ficky, before we hop into it, man, how you doing? How you feeling?
Sign of relief, I would say. There's peace now. Like, we can kind of relax because whether you like the decision or not, a decision's been made. So that's kind of good because we've talked about it for weeks and weeks, right? Like how toxic, the Twitter world has become because it's, so divisive. And now it can hey, look, let's move on. And then this is the road we're going to go because that's the decision that's been made. So I think there is a little bit of relief of that. Obviously, some sadness because I think we both, a lot of people, Justin Fields was our dude. We still remember when he got drafted, we traded up the excitement that we had. Most dynamic player to ever play the quarterback position for the Chicago Bears. So kind of like a mixed set of feelings, but at least, and we'll get to this, but at least the future looks bright for whoever, which is going to be Caleb Williams, is playing quarterback for the Chicago Bears moving forward. I do want to say this one thing.
Is it just me, Jack, or did we lose Ficky? I'm going to bring you in here. Jack, did we lost him? Okay. So I will go ahead and try to, kind of take off where Ficky was talking. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, my bad. I accidentally hit backspace, so it kicked me out. No, I was trying to pull up a comment that I thought was hilarious. Jack, do you have that one that had the girlfriend comment? Because that was funny. And I think this is kind of like the sentiment for how a lot of us feel. Said Anthony here on Twitter said, cheating on my girl was easier than seeing Fields get traded. So, I think it's fair that whether you're, pro Caleb, right, or you're more excited for Caleb or you wanted to keep Fields, it still was hard, to the heart to be damn, we no longer have Justin Fields on this team, who was the captain, the leader of the Chicago Bears for the past 3 years. And obviously we'll go into detail about all the things that went wrong and why, they decided to move on. But yeah, it was kind of like a bittersweet moment in essence of a feeling of sadness, disappointment, but also, a new chapter. So I can't sulk in it forever. But how'd you feel about the trade?
No, yeah. So I guess we'll start there, just given our initial thoughts. So overall, I tweeted about it, wrote a couple articles on it as well. But Justin Fields, I feel like the trade in, as far as the value is shocking, disappointing. It kind of goes to show you that the reports about Justin and what the NFL was kind of thinking of him and his value, it was correct for the most part. I think it was very interesting that, news broke late last night. I'm talking 12 midnight, Courtney Cronin. And then this morning as well, kind of elaborated more on it, but there was a better offer there for Justin Fields. So for me personally, 6th round pick, maybe can turn into a 4th, depending on playing time. I think it's 51% is what was reported. If he plays next year, it turns into a 4th rounder. Even then, a fucking 4th round pick is just, it shocks me because, when you first talked about, when you go back to the end of the season where we talked about Justin Fields and he was going pretty strong, right? Then it was about, the Bears receiving a 1st round pick possibly for him. Went down to, I think it was downgraded to premium picks, which could be a 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Then it was okay, maybe a late round or a couple day 3 picks, something along those lines. And then it got all the way down to, okay, is Justin Fields good? Is there a market right now? And the roller coaster, I guess, the downhill spiral of it all was just, it was very frustrating because I feel like a lot of people and a lot of analysts believe that Justin can still play at a starter level. And you haven't really scratched his surface. There's possibility that he could be a lot better. So for me, the fact that it was such low compensation, was frustrating. But the fit in Pittsburgh, I mean, with Mike Tomlin and such a stable organization, Ficky, I really like it, man. I'm excited for him. Going to be rooting for him. But like you said, it was weird, man, because you think about immediately back to when he was drafted, when the Bears traded up and how excited we all were. No one thought there was a possibility that the Bears were going to get one of the top quarterbacks in that draft, and then they made the move to do it. So overall, it's just disappointing. I believe we'll go into kind of what we think went wrong here. But what are your thoughts on? Were you? Well, I guess let me rephrase it. The 6th rounder. How shocked were you that it was that low compensation?
If you would have asked me 2 months ago, I'd be like, no fucking way. I'm sure I talked about it on previous pods. Like, I didn't believe the Mel Kiper when Mel Kiper and not Daniel Jeremiah, someone else were talking about it. Mel said like the Falcons for their 1st overall, their 8th pick. I never really believed that, but I'm pretty sure I advocated like 2nd and a day 3 pick. Right? You're starting off with the 2nd rounder, and then whether that be a 4th, a 5th, 6th, whatever it is, right? So reports came out from Courtney Cronin, who works for ESPN and covers the Bears. She said there were 5 other teams that were interested in Fields along with Pittsburgh, right? Polls approached those teams basically starting off with how the Sam Darnold trade was. Not the one that just happened, but the one where he got traded to Carolina from the Jets way back, which was a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th, right? So that was his starting ground. What happened was all 6 of those teams, every single one of them said, we do not view him as a starter, right? So because of that, obviously you can't come in then with the 2nd. It's not going to happen, right? You're not trading a 2nd for a backup. So because of that, polls had to adjust. And that's when you start to see the value go down. Now it's not like, his market's dropping. It's like, well, I can't just send them to wherever these teams that were needy for quarterbacks. His demand's low now because it's a backup. Everyone, you can get backups everywhere, right? So the demand for a backup's not as high as it is for a starter. So because of that, we kind of got pigeonholed. Now, there was one part which you got to give credit to Poles for. We didn't get as much value for Fields, but in the beginning of his presser, Poles said, I'm going to do right by Fields. There was a better offer for Justin, a higher offer, and they went with Pittsburgh instead. There was a better deal on the table for him to be a backup on I might be misquoting it, but it was for a high caliber starting team. So I might be thinking like the Eagles, right? They have a Jalen Hurts. He may have been back up there. So the fact was they had conversations with Fields. They said, okay, Pittsburgh's probably going to be the best bet for you, and sent him off, right? I think the issue isn't that polls didn't get enough value. The issue is that the way that we view Justin Fields' value is not the same way that NFL GMs view Justin Fields, right? Same with analysts, right? They were saying, hey, Fields could be a starter here, X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter. If nobody wants him to be their starter, then his value is not that of a starter. You can't force something out of nowhere. It takes 2 to tango. So I think because of that, that's what we were like, wait a minute. People view Darnold more. People view Desmond Ridder more. People view Gardner Minshew more. They do. That's obviously what happened. Because remember, you said, which I started to believe, I was like, maybe Fields isn't on.
Wait, you're saying they value those quarterbacks more than Justin Fields?
Obviously, because they decided to pay them money.
I don't think it's obvious. I think there's other variables that go into it.
No, of course.
If there was no contract, no 5th room, right. Then if it was just quarterback to quarterback, there's no way they value Justin over.
Yeah, I'm not saying Justin as a skill. I'm saying like Justin's situation, what comes with this. That'd be, obviously, you got to pick up the 5th year. Obviously, you got to think about if you're going to extend. Yeah, of course. No. If it's just talent, absolutely no way to think that. No way. No way. Sorry, I didn't clarify that. So the situation of Fields, right? They said we'd rather go this route, take a risk on this because there's not as much potential money that we're going to have to pay. So it's like they don't risk as much, right? So I think from our standpoint as a fan base, we look at it because you can look at it and go, well, he's better than this. He's better than that. Of course he is. But like you said, there's other variables. And I started to agree with you on the last pod, how you said, maybe he's not on the table, right? I was like, yeah, that makes sense because obviously no one is picking him up.
It's funny how that works, right?
Right. And Poles came out and said, nah, that ain't the case. He said, we've been shopping him for weeks and the value just wasn't there. And so because of all of that, I think Poles was like, look, I don't want to keep you on. Not like I don't want you on the team. It's going to be hell if we draft Caleb, you're not the future of this quarterback. And I basically have you hostage on the team. Sure, we could wait and a player could get injured and we could get maybe a third back or some high value. But I'm not going to go ahead and just ship you off. He's changing it. For our podcast listeners, Dave's always had the Keep Fields Draft MHJ chalkboard in the back, and he just took that down.
I got to change it up.
Effect. But if he was doing right for the Bears, he would hold on to Fields, keep him hostage in essence, and say, hey, look, I'm just going to wait till someone gets injured, then we'll ship you off there. I don't care what team. We'll just get high value because an injury happened. So I have to give Poles credit, at least from a human standpoint, of being like, let me get you out here as soon as possible, let you get accustomed to the new situation. You're also going to historically a better organization than the one you're at now.
I love the spot for Pitt, and just even then you throw in Russell Wilson. But I'll go in and read the statement real quick if you guys have not heard it already or read it. From Ryan Poles that was released late last night. He goes, we have engaged in multiple trade conversations in recent weeks, which I thought was, for the people that are saying he was not shopped or, anything like that, those reports, like he just kind of came out and was like, nope, not true. Yep. Might want to delete those tweets and believe trading Justin at this time to Pittsburgh is what is best for both Justin and the Bears. Today, we spoke to Justin to inform him of the trade and the rationale behind it for us as a club. We want to thank him for his tireless dedication, leadership, and all he poured into our franchise and community the last 3 years, and wish him the best towards a long and successful NFL career. So I want to kind of backtrack here, Ficky, because I love two things. I like that they sat him down, not just to let him know, hey, you are being traded, but just the rationale, which, he probably understands it, but to have those conversations, it's class. Ryan Poles has done that. That's one thing I enjoy about him and this regime and how they handle just conversations with players, whether it's, Jalen Johnson requested a trade mid-season, dude, before the trade deadline, and they still worked it through. And that is just a testament to that organization and that team that he has. And of course, Jalen Johnson. And then secondly, there was the reports about, there being another offer, right? So for me, I have a problem with that. I want to be first and foremost, I like doing right by Justin. However, you can kind of argue, I'm not sure the last few weeks were the best for him. If they were really, truly, okay, Caleb is our guy. And, you heard about the medicals. Maybe they're waiting for the pro day. Maybe they're waiting for that, top 30 visit to really get to know Caleb. Okay, let's hold on to Fields. Let's figure out if this is our guy. For me, Caleb has been the guy for weeks. And I know I'm talking about, maybe I believe, God forbid, if they don't draft Caleb Williams here, like I may be a Pittsburgh Steeler too. Like I'm being honest, dude. Like I'll be so pissed off if he's not the guy, just because I believe he's a tier above. And so, but for me, if there was another offer on the table, and I'm not sure how everyone feels about this, about maybe passing that up. If it was like a 5th round pick, okay, I'm cool with it, But if we're talking like compensation being like even a third. I don't think it's a second, but if it's like a third and a 6th or third and a 7th, if it's something along those lines, that's unacceptable, man. Like, at first you got to do what's best. Yeah. But for me, it's just a better offer. Just I'm wondering if it's going to be leaked what that was and who that team was. I heard maybe speculation about Philly.
I think it's Philly based off how they.
I wouldn't be a Steeler fan. That was a joke. I'm being honest. Like if they don't draft Caleb Williams and they somehow pass up on him, I believe he is a tier above everyone else in this draft, if not a couple. When it comes to like Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, and everything like that. But for real, I like the idea that they wanted to do right by him, but I don't necessarily believe that to be true. Because if you're shopping him for weeks and you finally get a deal done, I understand there's a lot of quarterback movement, but he said recent weeks. The last week or so, week and a half is when the movement started. So if it's been weeks, how could you not have gotten a deal done, before?
Well, I think so. There's two things. I think let's say they're shopping him like, let's just say 3 weeks, right? I think the first 2 weeks and what the value was of him because of, free agency hasn't started is much different. Once Kirk Cousins, because the big domino was Kirk Cousins. You have to figure out where he's going. Because if Falcons were still an option, I think we get that trade of Fields and get like a third at least or something like that. Once Kirk left, that was my first thing. Like, fuck, that was, I think, our best option for Fields. And then obviously all the other dominoes made it worse because they all started getting taken up. But I think what he was waiting on was that, and the value he may had from week 1 to 2 then was drastically different from this last week. And he's like, oh, well, I got to get you for something at that point, right? So again, this is all speculation. We don't know. Go back to your question, like, what was the trade? Like, if you passed up a third, I don't care about what you did for Fields. No, you should have got a third. Like, bro, what are we doing? But if it was like another 5th or a 6th or like a 6th that turned into a conditional third, like, okay, right? I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, it's most likely still going to be a 6th rounder. So, yeah, we would need more.
No, you're right.
Just like we need more information.
I think maybe the Atlanta deal obviously maybe played a factor with Cousins going down or being, actually going to Atlanta. So I just feel like it was odd. I understand the notion you wanted to do right by him. I just don't think overall they did. That's just me. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't terrible, but I just see a lot of people like, oh, they passed up on a better offer. I'm not sold on that for me as far as doing right by Justin. So
also, just one last thing. Also, like, this is the NFL business. I'm not saying you have to be cold, like cold-blooded. Poles wasn't, but at the end of the day, it's like he did enough right by Justin. Like you said, it wasn't like we've seen these teams just treat great players like dog crap, right? Like great players that have been part of organizations for a long time. They're like, oh, you're getting old. Yeah, fuck you. We don't care anymore, right? This wasn't even like this. I mean, Fields has been good, but it's not like Fields is like statue worthy. Like, it's not building anything outside the stadium. And he still did like a decent job with it. So from my perspective, it's like, it's still a win-win from both sides. So I'm not viewing it like, oh, you didn't do right. I'm like, you still gave him a good opportunity for his career to grow, right? I think we both can agree with that. He could have shipped him off. Someone's like, oh, why don't you ship him off to the Raiders, right? Sure, we could have got great compensation from the Raiders. But from a Fields perspective, you want to go to the Oakland Raiders, one of the worst run franchises in the past decade. You know what I mean? So he does get an opportunity to at least prove himself over there. But I want to say this, though, because this just happened before we went live. I can't find the exact tweet. It was a credible one. It may have been ESPN. But there are reports that Russell Wilson and the Steelers are looking to do a multi-year deal by the end of the year. So they basically come to agreement, like as long as, it doesn't go down in flames, he plays like garbage, that he's going to be locked in for, probably like a 3-year deal, like a 2-year extension or deal. That's what I would expect. So what's your thoughts on that then? Because then, I mean, maybe Poles didn't have the hindsight on that, right? He may not have the foresight on that to see that, but if that's the case, is that a favorable situation for Fields? Because now Russell Wilson would then be a starter for at least 2 years there in Pittsburgh.
There's a tweet here from Augustin. Goes, Caleb's crown celebration is cold. Talking about, I think, that celebration video you tweeted, Ficky. Which I agree. That's one of my favorites. I know LeBron. That. Oh, it did? Oh, last pod?
No, you talked about like a previous pod, you brought it up. You were like, oh, yeah. When he does this crown thing like that,
I love it.
Fire.
I know like Justin, I think Mooney crowned Justin, but I like the fact that he does it himself. Like, I like the confidence. I do. Now, if we're down like 30 points or something like that, and he has 207, he's doing that shit. Maybe different. But that is interesting with Russell Wilson and maybe a multi-year contract. For me personally, I like Russell. He's older. I just believe that Justin's going to be, I think he's better right now. Or not right now. I think he's going to be better. I think if he sits for a couple games, also gets to, learn behind Russ, and then also Mike Tomlin, the coaching, and just the franchise that Pittsburgh is, like their stability, man. Like they are the definition. Like Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season, right?
Wow.
In like how many years? 16?
Yeah, it's like 15 or 16. It's crazy.
It's nuts, dude. So Justin coming from where the Bears set him up from the very beginning, which we didn't even talk about. Because I do believe the Bears, I tweeted this yesterday. You'll never change my mind. The Bears failed him, right?
Of course. No argument there.
But before we get into that, because that's a whole nother story and that's a whole nother rant here in a minute. But about Russell Wilson, I don't believe, first of all, a multi-year deal for him. I don't know what that looks like money-wise. I just don't think it's a good idea because Justin, I think, has the ability to get better, and he can get better quick, especially being in Pittsburgh and depending on just how development goes over there, right? Because it could take a whole year for him to really a light bulb to click, and it may never click. But at the same time, it could take 6 games, a whole training camp, 6, 7, 8 games. Russ goes down, right?
Yeah,
injury happens.
Sure.
I'm not even saying it's because of Russ's poor play, but then Justin comes in and shows he's the guy, and you're like, he goes on maybe on a crazy little 4 or 5 game run, really shows out, and then you're like, Russ, do we go back to Russ?
No, you wouldn't.
Maybe because of the contract. Maybe, say you gave him $50 million, right? It's like, okay, maybe we have to, but it's like for me, I wouldn't.
You only gave him.
They
picked because the Broncos are paying out Russell Wilson.
No, I'm saying because you're talking about a multi-year extension.
Oh, okay. After that,
yeah,
got you.
That's what I'm saying because I know because right now they're both very cheap quarterbacks, and it's such a good
$4.5 million for
such a good quarterback room, dude. It's insane. They really revamped it, and I think the savviness. That's why a franchise like Pittsburgh is just so good for Justin, and I think even for Russ. Just I think they have a chance to like I said, Russ maybe pans out for a year or two where he really is able to bring in success. But then you got Justin, who's 25 years old. I think there's still a lot of stuff you can pull out of him. Obviously, he has the athletic ability. He's big, strong, fast. But it's like if he can really learn, sit, and take advantage of this time, who knows what? Because he's going to get a second shot. He's absolutely going to get a second shot. So I think a multi-year deal, to answer your question, for me, I wouldn't do it. Maybe
I'm not saying I would do it. I'm not saying I would do it either. Look, listen, 2 things. The age is important, right? Like I would go a younger route, right? Just because of Russell Wilson's age. But unless it's an injury, Russ could play the whole year. Last year, he had a QBR of 100 and he had 23 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Now, I know that's not like super amazing, but it's not like he had a bad year like he did 2 years ago. Like last year was a bounce back year for him. So,
yeah,
for me, obviously, from a Bears perspective, I want Fields to play not only because it'd be cool to see him start, but also I would like a 4th round pick instead of a 6th, right? So that's also important. But if Russell continues his play like he did last year, it might be a tougher battle than what we expect. Right. But again, there's age, injuries happen. We wouldn't wish that on Wilson, but like things do happen. It's the NFL. It's a brutal sport, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, he's at least in a better situation than what he was now, to be honest. A team that wants you and a team that in an organization that has been stable for decades. So before we move on, though, if you have any last things, we do have a super chat. But
let's get a super chat because I have a question for you, Ficky. I do.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get this one because it's been sitting here a minute. This is from our boy Tito. Appreciate it. Yep, $5 on YouTube. Said, RIP JF1. Hopefully he succeeds in Pittsburgh. We did that man dirty. That being said, we're definitely trading down from 9, right? We need another wide receiver and defensive end. I agree with all of that. Yeah, obviously we did him wrong. Hopefully he does ball out in Pittsburgh. Not against us, though. You can't do that. And then most likely going to trade down from 9 because we have 4 picks. We have the least amount of draft capital in this upcoming draft.
But the 4th or 5th most valuable.
Well, yes, because we have 2 top 10 picks.
That's what I'm saying. So the value is insane.
Williams. Yeah, one of them's for Caleb Williams. Yeah, we don't have like a lot of later round.
However, look at 2025, Ficky. First of all, shout out to Tito. I appreciate it. Look at 2025 because I think a lot of people are missing this too. Why not use some of that capital? Because I think they have like 8 or something. Pick. They have a decent amount of ammo in 2025. I think they have 2 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. For me, it's like, are they going to use any of that to perhaps move up from 9? To go get maybe a Marvin Harrison Jr. I know that's crazy to think about. Or move up just to get into maybe the 2nd round somehow. If they don't trade back for 9 and they stick there and they're like, you know what? Hey, we like Odunze. We like Dallas Turner. Is that right?
Yeah.
We like somebody and we're sticking at 9 because this is, we can't pass up on a talent, a blue chip, a premium, prospect. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to move something from 2025 to get back in this draft because we like, this edge or this center, something like that. So, but before we get to that with Tito, you're going to say something?
No, I was going to say, I agree. We haven't seen him move up in the first round. He's only moved back. Of course, we have a small data sample because he's only done this for 2 years, but he has moved up in the later rounds. He did that 2 years ago, his first year, I think, or maybe last year. So I could see him moving, maybe packaging up that second from the next year, moving up so he can get a pick in the top 100. Easily could see that. Also could see him moving up in the top 10. Like we said, he's still a new GM, pretty young. Like years of experience. We've only seen 2 years of them. So there's a lot of things that are still on the table, which makes the NFL draft so fun. So
absolutely. Lots to get to. First of all, if you're enjoying the show, typically we do not go live on Sundays unless it's game day. But of course, we wanted to get you guys a Justin Fields episode, get our thoughts, our emotions on it. So if you're here for the first time, we go live weekly, actually twice a week during the season. But right now with the off season, 1 episode a week. And you can Spotify, Apple, and of course, YouTube. So check us out there. If you're enjoying it, like the video, subscribe. That's a really great way to support the pod and the community that we're building. So we appreciate it. But now, Ficky, I have a question for you. With this Justin Fields trade, I want to take a look back all the way to when we drafted him, right? Obviously, you and I kind of disagreed on Twitter a little bit. Now, that was fun. I mean, emotions are high with that trade, of course. But you said, I'm actually just going to let you say about failure with Justin, but also perhaps a failure on the Bears, of course. So what are your thoughts overall on just this 3-year timeline with Justin Fields? Because I have a lot to say, but I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah. So I look at it 2 parts, right? There's always 2 sides of the coin, right? I think the first one that is very obvious that I think every Bear fan, maybe not every, but like a majority of the Bear fans can agree is that he was not put in a favorable situation. Like the Bears definitely did him wrong, right? Set him up to fail. You think about how he was first drafted. Let's go back to year 1, okay? He's drafted by a head coach and a GM that are basically making this move because they have to be desperate because they know that they're possibly out the way. I mean, like they're on the hot seat. And results show, the history shows that they were correct. They got fired the year later. Now we look at what happened in that first year. He's drafted, right? First round quarterback. Typically, you see that quarterback, maybe you have a starter already there. Maybe he sits behind the 1 starter, right? But if you remember our depth chart, we had Nick Foles, who Ryan Pace traded for a 4th round pick, and we had Andy Dalton, who just signed. So you have 2 veteran quarterbacks, which is already interesting enough. And then now you have Justin Fields. When week 1 comes along, Justin isn't even QB2 on the depth chart. This is QB3. Your first round draft pick is now basically not getting snaps in practice. Like you think, oh, that's just depth chart. No, when it comes to practice snaps, he's not getting that many. So now you're looking at reps because reps are important, right? That's the whole point of the NFL. Reps. He's not getting reps. Okay, you're not setting him up that well anyways. Secondly, his first game that he comes in, we can all remember this infamous game against the Cleveland Browns. He goes out there and gets destroyed. 9 sacks by the Cleveland Browns. Just fucked up, right? Like left and right, running for his life. Surprised he didn't get injured that game, right? We all remember that. That's another big failure because now this dude comes in his first game, like you're not having confidence. If I was already late to hold the ball, or I wasn't trustworthy of my eyes in the line, it's definitely gotten worse, right? And we saw that throughout the first year. Yeah. So you have that situation. Then again, the drama of okay, our offensive coordinator's not doing their job. He gives up plays halfway through the year, then takes them back, and then gets fired. So that whole year, I think we all went back and said, oh, that's not his rookie year. It doesn't count because it was such a wash. Second year comes along. Ryan Pace, before he leaves, does a wonderful job and leaves us a beautiful present of leaving around $50 million in dead cap space. We were the number 1 team in dead cap space. So Ryan Poles comes in and says, look, Fields, I know you want weapons because the team before didn't really have weapons. I know you want weapons. I literally cannot get you any weapons because this team isn't so much in debt. Think of the Chargers and what they had to do now, right? So he comes in and goes, look, okay, Quan can't pay you. You're out. Robert Smith, Quan stayed 1 more year, but he's like, Robert Smith, you're out. Khalil Mack, you're out. Just saying all these big contracts, gone, clearing the books.
Yeah, he tore down the roster, which
had to.
From his perspective as a GM, smart, have to do. However, that doesn't align. It doesn't align with the quarterback timeline. So
here's the issue, though. This all comes back to the decision that Ryan Pace made. You're on your way out and you draft a quarterback. No matter what, the new guy comes in, whether he likes you or not. And I think Poles was like, let's move forward with you. He had to come in and clean up a mess that was made, right? They made a desperate move hoping it would save their job and it didn't. And then Poles had to deal with, like, he comes in and goes, oh, now I have to deal with all this shit. And then the right moves that he made, now then Fields becomes the victim. Like, fuck, I got to deal with this shit, you know? So it's an unfair situation from the beginning. So then you now look at that and you go, okay, year 2, like, Fields has no weapons. That's fair. Yeah. Then we get to year 3. Year 3 was, I think, I think we've talked about this. I think, even beginning year, excuses are kind of out the window, right? Did Fields perform well? Did he perform better than the years previously? Absolutely. He did. Mm-hmm. Did he still do electric runs? He still won us 7 games. You know what I mean? I mean, he was out for 2 of them, but he still did the right things. The issue then, which then it's like Fields getting fucked over again, is that the trade that we made to get DJ Moore last year to stick with you, which was in your favor, ends up coming back and literally biting you in the butt, because now we have the first pick again. We talked about this previously. If that pick was 2 or 3 or later, Fields is on this team, right? Mm-hmm. Even if he loses to Green Bay, I still think if we're picking 2 or 3, if it's not an opportunity to get Caleb or later, Fields is the quarterback. So then just the luck of the draw,
it would be
unluck of it.
I think it would be more fair of a fight between Justin and Drake May. However, some draft prospects and analysts and even GMs really like Drake May. So, I mean, even then there's a possibility. But 3?
Fair. But let's put it this way. Let's say we don't have 1, right? Let's just say it's our own pick at 9, right? Mm-hmm. Or the Panthers weren't dog shit and they won 6 games, right? So let's pick 8. Fields is on this team. None of this ever happened. There's no questions. Hey, look, the whole narrative of Fields changed. You go, oh, he's made progress over 3 years. We expect another big jump. We're going to get him more weapons, right? So the issue here isn't necessarily like the Fields, obviously, right? But the biggest outlier here, the biggest factor in this decision is that you have the number 1 pick along with the quarterback who's at the top of the class being Caleb Williams, right? So it's like the 2 unluckiest things from Fields' perspective happened, right? So that's just to sum it up, that's the Bears situation doing Fields wrong. The other aspect, when I look at the other side of the coin, is if Fields played like, and I know this is an anomaly, but you have to compare to something. If Fields comes in and played like CJ Stroud did last year, not that many weapons, or you go back to like Andrew Luck when he was first drafted as a rookie, did not have that much talent around him, did well enough that the team was like, yeah, you are the future, right? Then this first pick doesn't matter, right? So, for example, we could switch some teams out. If Bengals were picking first overall, they look at Joe Burrow and go, no, we're still sticking with Joe Burrow. If the Bills, obviously the Chiefs, right? Like there are quarterbacks out there. Even Houston has number 1. They look and go, hey, look, no, this guy's obviously the deal, right? The problem is he didn't do enough. It doesn't mean that he was garbage and he wasn't good and he didn't play well. No, he basically didn't exceed the threshold that he needed to basically make Caleb not a decision, right? So that's where you get the mix. It's unlucky factors of Fields in the situation he got in with this organization that was trash for two of his first years, and the unluckiest situation of it being Caleb Williams in the first overall pick. And unfortunately, the bad habits and some of the things that he wasn't able to progress on quickly enough, meshing together and making this big melting pot of, well, we got to rock with Caleb. So it's unfortunate. The league's not fair. Life's not fair, right? That's why I think we both advocate. That's why it might be good that he's in Pittsburgh, because that would never happen. And you know what's funny now? What Poles is doing right now for Caleb Williams is exactly what should have been done for Justin Fields from day one. And I guarantee, this is how I feel. If we were to go back and Ryan Poles was the GM back then, he would have set it up. So it's like, hey, let me give my quarterback the best opportunity to thrive. You know what I mean? Like 1 year window basically ended Justin Fields' career in Chicago just because the quarterback did not align by the GM by 1 year. And you see that happen all the time. So I know that was a big rant, but I just want to give the two perspectives on it where like there was just a lot of things that didn't happen to go in his favor. And then he didn't help himself out to the best of the ability. But I still think he's a top 20 quarterback, top 25.
There's a Alex on Twitter goes, why get rid of Fields and Getsy but keep Flus? And I think that's a valid, like, even though I'm on board with it now, and I think Flus has had a huge, I mean, his beard and his style, he's a completely different person, you know. But I think this is some great. I think you broke it down really well, Ficky. I really do. Now I will say it is interesting with Ryan Poles because I think he doesn't really, he's not one to blame here because what he's doing is what I think he needed to do.
Had to.
Right? Not that Justin wasn't his guy, but it's not like Poles didn't give him a chance because he did. However, I was very passionate yesterday, late last night, about the Bears in general, just as a franchise, whether it be Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields. I mean, it's just they cannot develop a quarterback no matter what. Like, it is just they can't align an offensive coordinator with him. I mean, look at Justin. He had how many OCs? Right? He had two in 3 seasons. They both suck. They got that wrong. Yeah. Jay Cutler, it's just time and time again, we see this franchise just, screw up when it comes to developing a young quarterback. And now you're getting another chance at Caleb Williams. And the only reason I believe it's going to work is because I think Caleb is very talented, but you throw Caleb into what Justin went through, I don't think he can overcome that. I don't even think CJ Stroud could. Like, looking back at the Bears, and I mean, when you bring in a guy, like you said, Ficky, and Matt Nagy and Andy Dalton starting over him, he's getting he's the third quarterback in practice getting reps. So he's basically getting 0. And then you throw him in there against the top defense at the time, Cleveland Browns, and Matt Nagy, you probably never can convince me otherwise. It was like, oh, you guys thought he was ready. I'm going to make this as bad as possible. And it's probably not right, but that's how it felt to me, man. I still feel that way. But now the reason why I think it's going to work is because Ryan Poles did what he needed to do, and it wasn't easy because I'm sure he liked Justin. Like, you saw in his presser and everything like that, how he talked about it, and he was very respected in the locker room. We'll get to that in a moment as well because I think that's important. But for me, the fact that he had the guts, the balls to tear it down in year 2, right? Strip everything away from Justin, which 2022 was so fun and so electric because of Justin Fields. He put that team on his back. Sure, it didn't equate to wins, but every single week in that second half of the season, man, it was competitive. The Philly, the Eagles, who were in the Super Bowl that year, he put them on their back, play after play, run after run, and sometimes even did it with his arm. So I just think what Ryan Poles did was necessary, and now you look at what is around this rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams, perhaps coming in. Bro. It's unbelievable. And the Bears have never in their franchise have they ever been this set up for a rookie quarterback. And sure, Flus, I think it's odd that he's here, but I believe he's good enough, and I think he's going to prove, especially on the defensive side, that he is going to be able to lead this team to compete for years to come. So for me, I think Ryan Poles, you got to kind of give, tip your hat to him because he did what was necessary, but it wasn't fair to Justin. So for me, absolutely. You'll never convince me otherwise that the Bears didn't fail him. And sure, I think he had enough opportunities. And if he was a better passer, I think that's the issue here. And that's why I'm like, if he would have went somewhere else and was able to develop at a normal pace, and in a stable situation, where is he now passing? Like, I believe that he would be different. I really do. And then I want to go back to this year even, Ficky, because you talked about it, the Packers game. But what if he doesn't get hurt with his thumb? I know he was running. And it was, obviously he left the pocket. But if you look at his stats and where he was going, I know he had those 2 anomalies with those 2 big games, like 4 touchdowns. He had 8 touchdowns in 2 games. But then a game or a half later, he gets hurt and he's out for how many? Well, he missed 5 games, 4 games?
4 games. 4 games.
4 games. And then he comes back, and those 4 games, that stretch of 4 games that Tyson Bagent started was probably the softest on the schedule.
Yep.
And Justin missed every single one of those.
Saints. Yeah.
So I'm not saying, 1, you can inflate your stats, but 2, you can get some confidence, right? You can get some momentum really going. And you saw it with DJ Moore. Who's to say he doesn't build that more with Tyler Scott or someone else who perhaps comes along and is able to kind of help, Justin progress even more. So for me, before that thumb injury, you could see him taking steps, strides in passing the ball. And who's to say he doesn't get 10, 20% better as the season goes if he's able to stay healthy. And again, you could say that's on Justin, right? He got hurt because he was not trusting himself. He was not getting rid of the ball. He was taking unnecessary hits and sacks. And then you have the fourth quarter woes, the fumbles. So for me, I think, and I'm going to say you were right, because I think your tweet was, hey, it can go both ways. But in the moment, I'm so pissed off at this organization because time and time again, we get excited and I was not more hyped than any other quarterback, any other prospect than Justin Fields in draft night, man. I thought for sure, I remember talking to everybody, my friends, excited as hell. I was like, we can't fuck this one up. This is Justin Fields, dude.
So this is your
fault.
Maybe,
and maybe, again, we overlook some of his flaws. And you look at, of course, you pair that along with what the Bears do to quarterbacks. It just didn't work out. However, rooting for him. But again, I want to finish with this before you go, Ficky. I just think Ryan Poles, hats off to him, because now he somehow broke the curse that is the Chicago Bears, where you got a quarterback coming in with DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen. I don't know why I picked Swift first. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett. You could throw in another rookie wide receiver, and then you have a rookie contract, which I think obviously you talked about, but I think plays another big role here. Huge. No matter, you could have saved some money on other players, but it's like a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract is just, it's a gold mine. It's what you want in the NFL. And now the Bears have that on top of the arsenal of talent, not just on the offensive side, but you look at that defense. I don't know what that long paragraph was there, but I kind of want to look at that. But on the screen. But then you have the defense, dude. And that is what I think is so electric, because now you got an offense with weapons and a defense that's hungry, young, fast, have some vets. You get another edge rusher. It's crazy, man. So but for me, I want it to be very clear. The Bears got very lucky, but it's all because of what Ryan Poles was able to do. And it sucks, but it's Justin Fields is the victim in essence of what kind of transpired. And then, of course, the DJ Moore trade turning into one of the best ever, if not the best.
Not only Poles. I agree with you completely that Poles did a majority of that, but we got to give a percentage to our boy Lovey Smith and what he did.
Oh man, crown him. Yes. He needs a statue for sure, dude. Or at least,
absolutely. He should
have. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm so glad you brought that up.
One of the best coaches other than Ditka in Bears history. So yeah, but that first pick ended up turning into good. DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, Keenan Allen. That's just the start. And excuse me, Caleb Williams. That pick alone, that one pick had a waterfall effect of bringing in someone who is a quarterback that's viewed that could be all pro at some point, right? That's kind of just the understanding. But then 3 players that are all pro. Come on. What are we doing here? Or I guess Darnell Wright he's the rookie. But you brought in at least 2 all-pro players and 2 young players that could be the top of their position from one pick, from one crazy game, week 17, Hail Mary in the end zone. Why?
Unreal. And here's the thing, man. You're 30 for 30 with Caleb Williams and maybe the Bears becoming like, say the Bears win. I'm not even saying a dynasty, but say they somehow go on to win a Super Bowl in this window with either Caleb. I'm going to say Caleb Williams because that's what's going to happen.
It's Caleb.
For me, you're 30 for 30 intro in like that first minute where they do that 30 for 30 intro. It's going to start with fucking Lovey Smith and his decision to go for it, right? And then you have all of that kind of transpires after. But it's incredible. And I think our producer Jack had a funny tweet, great tweet. You can check out his account. Jack Scroggs _, something like that. But again, none of this happens because of Lovey Smith. And he had a funny tweet with, I think it was Lovey with like a crown on him. Maybe was it like a Kanye album, right? Yeah. Was it like in reference to something like that?
I think it's Kanye. It's not his album, but Kanye has a famous picture with him with the crown on, I'm pretty sure. So someone photoshopped Lovey in there with his great beard.
Awesome. And you know what? But again, I I was very yesterday full of emotions just because it's frustrating. What was it?
Sorry, I want to read this comment. Vizzo Joe said technically the fourth we gave was our own fourth, not the Eagles' fourth. So technically it wasn't tied to. But in essence, though, we had two fourths. Like, I mean,
but that right there, I mean, Joe is very right because that little caveat does change things. Because if it was the Eagles, then it is a part of that. For some reason, I was seeing tweets that it was.
It was the first one, the earlier one.
But I guess technically it really does.
Right. The earlier one, they said it was the earliest fourth. I didn't know which one was which. So that could be true. And if so, that's fine. Like, it doesn't change the result. We still have Keenan Allen. But yeah, overall, though, let's just think about it. What Lovey Smith did for that season and what Ryan Poles did since he's been here has put this team, like you said, Dave, in a situation that we have never seen before. We've seen the team maybe be good on one side or be set up on the other, but they're missing a quarterback, right? I would say the 2018 year, the defense was really good. The offense had pieces. Let's be real. They had pieces, but they didn't have the quarterback, right? We're now set up where it's like, oh, defense is good. Offense is maybe even better on paper. And we have a great generation. Well, what they would say, right? But it's not our label. Well, a generational prospect coming in that can help lead this team to the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, before we bring in the before we bring in this quarterback, before we bring in Caleb Williams, the locker room. I want to go ahead and transfer over to, or move over onto this topic really quick because I went ahead and wrote an article about it and kind of I was trying to bring because there were so many tweets about Justin Fields from the media, from the fans, from almost everyone was chiming in on this trade, celebrities, right? And then you have the locker room, both current and former players that played with Justin. I thought it was just very intriguing on the responses because some were more bold than others. And I want to go ahead and go through some of this before we kind of get your perspective because I'm pretty passionate on this right here. But I want to go to DJ Moore, right? His tweet was business is business, right? Which is true. But then you go to Tyreek Stevenson, who has a broken heart emoji, ... or he has a salute, broken heart emoji, ... and then speechless in all caps. So that caught him, but I don't know how it caught him by surprise. I don't know. Maybe he's not on Twitter and thinking it could happen. But Tyreek Stevenson, he's hurt by it. Today isn't easy, but it's a business. DeMarcus Walker. Then you have Jaquan Brisker, perhaps the most emotional and bold, and is not afraid to really say his mind, which I appreciate. I love Jaquan Brisker, but he goes, "Don't talk to me," in all caps. And then you have, moving forward, this one is interesting. We have friend of the show, former Bear, Darrington Evans. He goes, "Ain't gonna lie, this kind of pissed me off for real. Happy for bruh to get a fresh start." But it's like, that's a former player right there. And then you have Trevis Gibson, former Bears edge rusher. They didn't deserve bro anyway, to be honest. I mean, that's tough right there. Then you got Justin Jones, who is no longer a Bear, if I'm not mistaken. He got his bag in free agency.
Big bag.
He goes, "Damn, bro, I wish you had a fair shake over there. Cheers to new beginnings." Glasses, emojis, for cheers. So, I mean, there was so many. I think
Khalil Herbert, too, had the melting emoji.
I
don't know if you saw that one, but like.
The smiley? Was it a smiley?
It was, where it's like melting, the smiley's melting.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's not, but we knew this. That was our big. We talked about this.
I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this, Ficky. Does this put more pressure on the quarterback that comes in next, Caleb Williams, or do you think that's a facade?
No, for what I don't think.
No added pressure.
No. There's going to be pressure for Caleb, but I don't think it's from what's in the locker room. I think it's like, I've been viewed as this great prospect. I need to make sure I come out here and show it. Not only that, we just talked about it. You have a pretty good team surrounded by you. So you have a favorable situation. You got to perform. I think that has more pressure. Not saying there's not pressure from the locker room, but here's the thing. Because we're humans, right? And I've said this before. Results will fix things. If Caleb Williams comes in here and he's not a piece of shit, like as a person, right? He's not like a dick.
He's not.
Enjoy him.
He's not.
I don't think that either. I just have to put the caveat out there, right?
Yep.
And he wins games, people will shut up. he wins games, people will shut up. The fan base will shut up. That you won't hear anything about the locker room or the pressure of the locker room. Winning cures all. So the pressure isn't all the other stuff. The pressure is you need to come in here and win, bro. Right? You don't have to be perfect. You're a rookie quarterback, but you have to be that quarterback that everyone is saying that you are. You have to come in here and have a better career than Justin Fields, hands down. That's it. And if you do that, they will start to treat you the same way that they started to treat Fields. They'll love you. And if you win and you win enough, because this is a football city, they'll build a statue of you. Like, that's how big and how desperate we are for a quarterback, right? We've talked about it. We went on a 5-minute rant, 10-minute rant about how we've never had a good quarterback. So if he comes in here and he is that guy, like he's being advertised, right? And that's a big if. But if he does that, no one, like, people will be quiet because winning always cures all. You know what I mean?
I think there was a great comment here about this just as a reflection of how great and how respected Justin was in that locker room. He was a leader. No one's taking that away from him. But for me, Ficky, I agree with you to an extent, but I believe that there are going to be some players, Jaquan Brisker, where it's like, hey, these guys were close with Justin because I believe they were not just teammates, but friends, right? Close friends. Khalil Herbert. These guys, it's like, for me, I think there is going to be a moment. It's like, okay, he's going to have to show it in practice. Like, oh, well, this is why they took you, number 1 overall. And I believe Caleb is talented enough, and you're going to see it right away. I think his teammates will be the first to see it. Okay, this guy is different. I mean, for me personally, like the fun thing about Caleb Williams, while all this was going on, right? He's been keeping receipts, man. He's been liking tweets. This guy is so competitive, right? He has such like a fuck you, like I'm gonna show you type attitude. And not that Justin was that, because I think Justin was he had that moxie, that aurora, that confidence in himself. But sometimes Justin kind of didn't get going with that confidence until like he started stringing some plays together. Those moments, getting that momentum. But for me, I think with Caleb, it's like he's just different when it comes to his mentality. You look at that Texas game, right, where he came in, first play, 4th and 1, took it to the house. He had big throw after big throw. And it's like this guy, and he knew right away. I think he said it after the game or in a podcast later. He's like, I knew I wasn't going to be taken back out. Now I know they did. I think Spencer Rattler came in for like that 2-point conversion or something like that late in the game. But for me, I just feel like I think we're going to understand who Caleb Williams is really soon, because I feel like he is just an athlete that is more like has a mentality like a Kobe, Jordan, that is needed, of course, in Chicago. You can look at Justin, how he navigated the media, the fans, the pressure. And I feel like Caleb, I know he gets a lot of flack about, maybe crying and some of the antics, but like, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to phase him. It's going to be more motivating for him for what he's had to go through with the media already. But there's no more pressure. There's no bigger pressure than being the quarterback in Chicago, the biggest market, second market, whatever it is in football, right? It's global. So for me, it is going to be interesting to see how he adapts to it, because like going from USC even to this stage is just entirely different. And there's a lot of tough media critics in Chicago. But for me, I believe just the silently, keeping tabs, I like that about him.
I love it, man.
Some people don't, but for me, I really, really appreciate it. And if he wins, it's going to change everything. But the locker room, to stay on that, I just think at the end of the day, if he comes in and he proves right away, he makes a couple throws in practices, and then, of course, how he carries himself, I think right away it's going to be like, okay, wishing Justin, Justin's our guy, wish him the best, unless we're playing against them. But they're going to rally behind him, or they're going to have to. And I think obviously it's a business, like DJ Moore said. So at the end of the day, I think everyone's going to want to get a paycheck. So
yes, they will.
As long as they're catching the ball and the Bears are winning, which I think that's where I want to get to as well, is expectations. But I don't think this is going to affect the locker room unless things go terribly, like where it's like, oh, Caleb can't play, or hey, he's not gelling. He has this It's ego, or all these red flags, which I don't believe them, but for some reason, if they surface and they are true, that's where I think the locker room can really, it's like, oh shit. But I don't think that happens.
I don't think that's going to happen, but because we are the Bears organization, I can't say that it can't, right? I don't think it's going to, but I can't put it past us. I think this is a perfect analogy for how the players are right now, right? And you saw it, right? One of the players did the heartbreak emoji. Who was that again? Do you remember?
That was Tyreek Stevenson.
So Tyreek did the heartbreak, right? That's exactly what this is, okay? This is what just happened, right?
It's a friend, dude.
Yeah. You just broke up with your girl, or let's say your partner, whoever it is, right? Y'all just broke up. You're heartbroken. You don't trust people right now, right? So when that new person comes along, you still dealing with the aftermath of the last relationship. It doesn't mean that someone, the next one won't work, but it's going to take some warming up. You got to do some stuff to make me have this trust back because I just went through hell. That's what it is. All right. Time heals everything. And if we there's a lot of time till Caleb gets here and they start getting to practice. You got a good amount of months to sit on this. Luckily, Caleb is not walking into Hallis Hall tomorrow. That is a great, great thing. Give these players time to heal, right? And the fan base as well. And then he comes in and he shows it. He has to show it, obviously. He comes in and shows it. They start winning, bro. It's over. This fan base is starving for a good team. If he starts winning consistently, you'll never hear Justin Fields talk again. And that's not even bad-mouthing Justin, right? Justin could be balling out wherever he's at. I'm saying, though, people will be so caught up and excited about their team, they're not worried about other people's teams. You only start worrying about other people's teams when your team sucks so much, you don't want to give it the time of day. You know what I mean? When our team sucks, we're like, oh, how are the Chiefs doing? How are the Bills doing? Oh, wow, what's going on over there? Because we don't want to pay attention to our team. If we're good enough, boom, you got those horse blinders on. We don't care.
There was a comment here on YouTube that goes, if Caleb chooses number 1 as far as like the jersey he's going to wear, say he's like, all right, Keenan, you can have number 13 that you've worn your last 13 years, 12 years in the NFL. Say he picks number 1, like, wow.
It's bro.
I will say,
would that not be something he would do though? Could you not?
That would be. I'll be honest. My Justin Fields jersey, I might be able to kind of like change it up a little bit.
Duct tape the back, bro. Dang.
No, but I will say this: I'm not buying a Caleb Williams jersey until we make the playoffs. No, until we make the play. Win a playoff game. That's what
I got one. I got one on the way. Now, it's not a real one, right? Because they're not even out yet. He's not even on the team. But I had to get one. I had to wear it draft night. It was a risky decision, and it wasn't even because. I wanted it more just because, like, how funny would it be for me to have a Caleb Williams jersey and we're sticking with Fields on draft night? So I kind of viewed it in a way where it's like, if this goes the wrong way, I'm going to look like an idiot, and that's great for the internet. I'm here for it, okay? But now it actually is the reality, and so I'm going to have to wear it. Because let's be real, like, when you go to these games, like, what other jersey? Well, actually, you know what? Let me backtrack now. I'm so used to not having a lot of good players on our team that there's really only like 1 or 2 jerseys you can pick. You know what I mean?
No, there's a lot.
This year's different. Montez, JJ, Keenan. Which already have a JJ, Keenan, DJ, Caleb.
Yeah, I mean Kyler Gordon.
I have a Brisker.
This draft class already will be interesting. If they pick someone at number 9, it could be like an Adunze, Dallas Turner, something like that. There's a lot of fun. I mean, you can, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so I was so used to being like, normally it's like, I'm thinking when I bought my Fields jersey, it was the end of the rookie year. It's like, bro, who's Fields in? Like, what other person on that team are you? Everyone's shipped out, or people are going to be shipped out the year following, right? And they're old. I'm not getting a Mac jersey. I already had one. And then literally the year following, it's like, it's basically Fields and Mooney. Maybe Roquan, but that's just a testament to polls and how different this roster is now. Where it's like, we have quality players on both sides of the ball and a good amount. So should be fun.
No, that defense is going to be crazy, dude. I want to get to this. Like I said, exciting. Happy for Justin. Hopefully it works out in Pittsburgh. We'll be rooting for him. I want to kind of go through Give me like your favorite memory with Justin, these last 3 years.
You know what?
Favorite play or
this one wasn't a play, but I was at the San Francisco rainy week 1 game. And when they won that game and they did the slide, that was awesome. And he played for the conditions, he played well too, especially with his legs. And so that was a great one for me. But from a non in-person experience, my favorite game, it'd have to be a game from not this year, but last year. Probably the Lions, where he had 2 big runs of last year. Not this past season, the year before, where he basically had that one giant run on Akuda, and then he had another crazy one down the sideline. I think that game, and that was middle of the season, so he was really starting to, that he was getting some yards with that. That one was fire. And if I have to say most recently, the Falcons game, his 300-yard game this year, as a whole, he balled out there. That was a fun game to watch.
That one felt bittersweet though, because it was I don't think he's gonna be here. I was getting those thoughts even during that game, right? Of course, it decided, it really depended. I feel how he played against Green Bay. If you really wanted to keep that momentum going and make it really difficult, go out, torch Green Bay. That would have been interesting. Maybe it wouldn't have changed anything. Probably not, just given all the other variables there. But I would say my favorite memory. It's tough. It's between 2 because that Miami game last year, or in 2022, I should say, last year you kind of get confused. You're oh, is it this year or 22? Anyways, 2022, where he broke the single rushing yard record or something for a regular season game. And you remember that one play where it was it was the run, right? Where it's he kind of pump fakes.
Oh,
right.
That was
brings
beautiful.
It back down, makes a quick move, and then he's gone, dude. And it wasn't it was just so fast. I've never seen a player really move like that, at least a quarterback, right? He's not supposed to do that. And so for me, overall, that game was insane. I thought I was just, at that moment, I was there's no other player at this position at quarterback. Maybe Lamar Jackson, but even then, Justin, he even got hit on that run, right? He pump fakes. I think he breaks a tackle or just something like that because the guy was trying to go for his legs, which you can't tackle Justin, with a leg tackle. So for me, that one right there, because he made some plays also with his arm, but you're going against Miami Dolphins who were just electric, right? But again, that's why I said he made things fun and competitive during that 8-game stretch or 4-game stretch at the end of the second half of the 2022 season. But the one that really sold me, and I was oh, we got our guy. It was the Pittsburgh game, rookie year. I know, and he talked about it, right, where we got, fucking hosed and whatever, and we should have won that game with the ref calling the side bump, throwing the flag. But that one right there, that pass to Mooney, where the Bears, I thought, won it, right? And they ended up not, but where he threw that ball, and it was just
beautiful
because he was doing it with his legs a little bit, but there was that was where they were moving him out of the pocket. He was showing, flashes with his arm. And that's why it's rookie Fields, I think, is still a different quarterback than he was even in year 3 passing the ball, because I think there was some, like I said, they failed him in regards to some of the development, and some of it's on him. But I would say between those 2 games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that the same game where he had that awesome end zone run? We're in the Pittsburgh game. It's like he's in the red zone and that edge comes off and he throws him off of him, then runs to the outside, kind of jukes in and gets smashed in the end zone. It was one of his
first
Lions.
No, I know that one.
That was. It's funny with the fact that we say there's so many because he did this so often.
Yeah. That Lions one where he just knocks the guy out. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
there's an Eagles one too that was good. He did on Hassan Reddick, tried to tackle him and he throws him off, spins outside, runs for 40, 50 yards. But yeah, the point is Fields is interesting. I'll say this because Fields would be the only reason we were in games, but then he would also be the one to lose the game as well.
In 2022, it was because he was doing everything by himself, though.
He had to.
But in 2023, I feel like he still had some of that hero tendency, that hero ball that Caleb Williams even has. But in 2023, it was I still don't think he had enough. I don't think he had enough around him. When you're starting, Darnell Wright was great, but he's still a rookie. That center was abysmal. That he was like Odell back there. We talked about it could not fucking get a snap, like just a consistent snap, and Cody Whitehair had a great year or great, career with the Bears, but it's like there was some last year wasn't perfect.
He never. Oh no, of course, bro. That's
that was the year. Which is funny because 2023 is like, okay, go show us you're the guy, even though it's not perfect around you still. But again, that's the business. That's the business of this league. It's a cutthroat. It's like, what have you done for me lately? And now, like you said, Ficky, he was up against some crazy odds, especially when we were at week 6 of the NFL season, where like the Panthers were like, holy shit, they're terrible. We could really end up with the first. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, not only was he wasn't just in the, hey, prove that you're the guy. It was like, no, prove that you are the guy, and we can't pass up this guy who is the guy. Yeah,
that's the problem.
To everyone else.
It's not like you just prove yourself. It's like now you have to, not only you battling your job to stay here, you're also battling this next potential guy who can take your job.
And then you got the financial side too. It's like you had to prove so much, and you had to be, I think when we talked about it, when he returned after the thumb injury, we had 7 games left or whatever. We talked about how he was going to have like 6 out of 7 games where it's like, oh, he's the guy. He's the guy.
And what?
You can't.
We were keeping track too. What he had 3, 4,
like 3.5, 4 games. It was
I think I gave like a half.
It wasn't enough, dude.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't enough. But that's what he was up against odds wise. But favorite memories, I think that whole entire 2022 season where he was just so electric, dude. That's one I'll remember for a long ass time.
The same way I watched. Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
I was gonna say the same way I view like Hester highlights. Like sometimes I'll just be bored and hop on, YouTube and watch some Hester highlights and be like, "Yo, this is fire." That is going to be the same way that I view Fields, because at the end of the day, his plays are fucking electric, bro. Like they are like.
I'm gonna tune into Pittsburgh games for sure if he's starting.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not tuning in for Russ's playing, but yeah, if he's starting, of course I'll watch. At least got to catch the highlights on it. But yeah, absolutely. But that's what I was hoping, bro. That's why I was hoping he was going to Atlanta selfishly, because I'm like, bro, Atlanta tickets aren't that expensive. The stadium's right there. I've gone to Atlanta Falcons games before. Like, obviously, I'm still a Bears fan, but I might go catch him one game with Pitts, with Drake London, with Bijan Robinson, a top 15 defense. Like, probably could have thrived there. So, but unfortunately, that's not how the cards were played for him. Not my decision, obviously. I'm not the GM's. But
yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, I want to go ahead and if you guys have any questions, let's go ahead and get in the chat here. But I want to go ahead and remind you guys. We have something, Ficky?
No, I was going to say, I was going to say also, because I forgot to mention it last time we did our little break. If you're new here, please put hashtag New Face Gang in the chat. We appreciate you watching us for the first time. Really do appreciate you taking time of your day to watch us. And if you're an OG here, which means you've watched the show twice, all of them, doesn't matter. Go ahead and give a hashtag OG in the chat, and we'll make sure to shout out you guys before the end of the show. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Dave.
No, absolutely. Yeah, again, I was just going to say, if you guys are enjoying the content, new or have been around, go ahead and hit the like button. It really does help just grow the community. Subscribe, Apple, Spotify listeners, a lot of you guys over there, go ahead and rate the pod and subscribe there as well. So a lot of fun. I want to bring in our producer, Jack, who's amazing, though.
We do have one super chat. Okay. Pull up and we can bring up Jack. Thanks. Oh, whoops. I hit at the same time you did, Jack. I should let you do your job. That's my bad.
Yeah, you got to let Jack do it.
Yeah, I know. My bad. So from Big Mike 76 on YouTube, said Bears fan for 200 years. I mean, 200 years. Jesus. 20 years. Bless your soul for that. That ended yesterday. Ooh, damn. That's tough. This is why I'll say it's tough. Not even because you decide to end it, but the time you decide to end it. Because, look, the past 20 years have not been great. The next couple might actually be the most exciting that we've seen in a minute. So I would just put a pause on the membership and let's see what Caleb can do. Because I would never want you to see the worst 20 years and then happen to miss out on the best ones. So that's it. But appreciate the super chat, Big Mike. Thanks for the $2.
No, absolutely. What a wild way to cut it off, especially with how much fun it could be with what's going on right now in Chicago. But hey, shout out. I mean, I agree. There's a lot of people that were pissed off last night. There was a lot
as
of
they should be. That's fair.
Compensation too probably played a role. It doesn't look like much.
Do we even call that compensation? I mean, at that point, right?
Hey, I'll take a 4th rounder if we can get that. But
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to bring in Jack, our producer, who is obviously manning the show behind the scenes. I want to get his thoughts. I think it's only right here to get your thoughts on Fields leaving. Jack, do you want to go ahead and bring up the 3-person overlay and get you in here?
Is it working here?
Yes. Let's pull you in here. Wait a second. Here we go.
There we go. What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
Jack, how you feeling, man? Justin.
I've sort of coped with it, like I feel like we knew it was coming. That's something I'm a bit surprised with, is I'm surprised on how surprised everyone is. Like, it seems like a lot of the Fields guys, and not speaking for you, Dave, because I mean, we talk and we're close, and so I know you're not in this, and you
am I a Fields guy?
Yeah, but you're not the cultist, you know what I mean? Like, well, whatever.
I love Caleb.
Anyway. Yeah, I'm just saying I was surprised on the reaction of it, and I don't know. It was a weird time yesterday. I feel like everyone's still fighting it out and battling, but anyways,
did they make the right decision in your eyes, Jack?
Yeah. You had to peel the Band-Aid off at some point, and somebody said that in the spaces yesterday too. Was you had to get rid of him, and a big part is it's not Poles' guy. And so there wasn't really any tie. I'm trying to, while you guys were talking, I was trying to look and see how much of the roster is not Poles guys anymore, because I feel like everybody's sort of molding into like the Poles Eberflus era, like so I was trying to look. I couldn't go ahead.
JJ and Komet, right? Is that because it used to be Bojack and Cody, but they're gone. And then Pace's last draft before Fields was JJ and Komet.
Right.
That's not Poles. Sorry, not Poles.
Was JJ wasn't in that one? No,
they were drafted in the same one. They were drafted in the same draft. We had two second rounders that year, and we drafted first Komet, and then we drafted JJ not far after, I believe.
So, like, is that it? Are those the only guys? Like, I feel like, that's what I mean, though, is like, it was just sort of like, let's clean house. I want my guys. Like, everyone's like, why are we keeping Eberflus? It's Poles' guy. He wants his guys in there. Now everybody in the organization is his guy. So, I mean, like, that's sort of, I think, and everyone was saying it's make or break year for Poles. If this year sucks, he's gone, whatever. I think that, he went all in, and it's, you hear the term generational quarterback with Caleb all the time, and it's like, you're going to pass on something like that when your job's on the line. So those are my thoughts. I knew it was coming. I was able to cope with it 2 months ago. So yeah, that's right.
No, that's great, Jack. I'm on board with you, because that's how I was. I was like, look, obviously what I want to happen is not going to happen. So I might as well just mentally get myself ready for the breakup.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I mean.
I'm about to get kicked out. So I was like, I had to get myself ready. Sucks, but
yeah.
Khalil Herbert's another one too. Good point by
Joe.
Always keeps me honest. He keeps all of us honest. Yeah, Herbert's another one.
Yeah, he be coming here with facts. I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, Jack. I just want to get your thoughts on it, man. I know you were kind of on the fence with it too, right? You could have seen both ways.
I was. I mean, you go back a few episodes. I said JF1 till I die, and that's I stood on that. And
now you're dead.
Him, and now he's gone. Now I got to move on. I can't sit there and be like, "Oh, this organization sucks." This, that. Like, you got to move on, And so
no, they do suck developing quarterbacks, but they finally might not be able to mess this one up in regards to.
That's my thing though, because I 100% agree. The history shows that they have absolutely been one of the worst, if not the worst franchise at developing a quarterback. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to give this new guy, because this would be Poles' first, opportunity to do so. And so far, right, I think we could all agree, and you could disagree, but I feel like from the sentiment we've talked about, we've trusted Poles with his trades, right? We've trusted Poles with his drafting, right? Why he hasn't done enough for me to be like, well, I don't trust you for getting the quarterback and developing.
Right.
His draft picks have developed pretty well, right? That's why we enjoyed his draft classes. So it doesn't mean it's going to work. I'm not saying that, but I can't pick and choose on the trust. If I'm like, yo, Poles, I think you do your job pretty well, I have to kind of be like, well, hopefully you do it again, even though historically this team has never, ever done it right. So I understand why people feel that way.
Right.
I just have to kind of be like, well, This is a new day, new season. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I want to bring up. Oh, go ahead, Jack. Oh, nothing important.
I was going back on the term generational because I don't watch college football. I know nothing about college football. When the draft comes up, I scout 32 guys in the first round. And then after that, I leave it up to you guys to handle the rest and you guys know things. But like, and I'm going to get cooked in the chat for saying it, but like LeBron had the same exact keywords that everyone's using on Caleb in 2002 when he got drafted in 2003. So it's like, are you not trading Carlos Boozer off the Cavaliers so you can go get LeBron? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it just seems like common sense that there's the future of the NFL and this guy that's been here playing football for 3 years in college. And like, this is the next big thing. And then you're not going to trade or get rid of the other guy that's taking a spot when you had the opportunity to get him. That's just my thoughts. I'm surprised how surprised everyone is. I feel like it just made sense. Fair. And I know you both are sort of like, it made sense. It was inevitable. So final thoughts. That's what it is. Caleb Williams is LeBron.
No, I agree. That's what you're leaving on. Yeah, you really want to get the chat riled up, but yeah. Luckily you have to manage it and not me today. So I appreciate it.
I'm not showing anything that disagrees with you.
Fair enough. No, I have to agree with Jack on that. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say that leads me to my next question. Appreciate you, Jack, though, because what are the expectations for Caleb Williams? You talked about it. You think it's ridiculous for playoffs, right? Or you don't think it's fair to be playoffs?
I think my tweet got misinterpreted, or maybe I didn't do a good enough job of clarifying it. What I was saying was, if we don't make the playoffs, it doesn't mean Caleb is a bust. I expect this team should, based off the roster it has, and based off the quarterback who's coming in, they probably should make the playoffs. But it is the NFL, and it's very hard to do so. Also, injuries happen. So there's a lot of variables that come in to where we don't make the playoffs.
Did you delete the tweet?
No, it's up.
Oh, I was like, where is it at? Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
you said the fact that people are saying playoffs are bust for a rookie quarterback is wild.
Yeah, and I'm talking about, my understanding was people were saying that if Caleb doesn't get us to the playoffs, he's a bust. Those were the tweets I was seeing. Right. It's not the expectation that the team shouldn't be in the playoffs. We talked about how good of a job Poles has done to get us there. But at the end of the day, this is a rookie quarterback. Look at the history of all rookie quarterbacks. They do stupid shit. The rookie quarterbacks, there's so much to learn.
Unless Caleb Williams is on like some Josh Rosen type, like, like dog shit. Yeah. Then there's no way you can't really come to a conclusion in regards to how good, or if he is a bust, probably till about year 3, end of year 2, in my opinion. So
you have two anomalies. You have two anomalies of two great quarterbacks. Peyton Manning had one of the Peyton. No. I mean, Andrew Luck had a great one too. You can actually go side for side for this one. Peyton Manning leads to this day the interception record for rookies with like 28 or something. Like, it's a shit ton. He came in his first year. Obviously, the team wasn't good around him, so that played a part. But you would look at that and go, yo, that's not the dude. Bro, like, I'm sorry. You throw 28 interceptions, you're breaking a record that still hasn't been broken to this day on a bad play. Nah, you're not the dude. Look how he turned out, right? And then you have the opposite, which I think people are probably setting the expectation for Caleb, which just happened with CJ Stroud. Come in here, you just break every record possible as a rookie, and you lead us to the promised land. In essence, you get us to the playoffs, right? So the likelihood that it's two extremes is probably not the case, right? That's why they're anomalies. The likelihood is he's more like above average and plays well enough that we are good enough to make the playoffs. But I don't want it to be that, the expectation is like, if Caleb doesn't have a 4,000-yard season, 30 touchdowns, 12 interception type of ordeal, then he's not the guy. Bro, he'll probably, this is my hot take, I bet you he has 15 picks. He may have 40, he may have 35 touchdowns, but he could easily throw 15 picks. He's a rookie quarterback. This shit happens, right? So that was my understanding, because I was seeing everybody tweet like, if he doesn't take us
but
to
I will
Super
say
Bowl,
this.
guy's garbage.
I agree with a lot of you said, but if the Bears don't make the playoffs, so let me preface this. If they stay healthy, and they don't make the playoffs, it will be because Caleb Williams is not ready.
Question. Scenario, no, because this has happened. It's just because the NFL is weird, crazy, right? We see this all the time. Let's say Packers are good, which they probably will be. Lions are good, because they probably are. We win 9, 10 games. I'll even go 10, right? We go 10-7, which is, I think, Houston did to get in the AFC South, right? They went 10-7 or something like that. Is that right? Something along those lines, right? They just stuck in, right? So let's say we go 10-7. Lions have another great year. They go 14-3. Packers improve.
No way.
Listen, they are still the best team. They're still the best team. It's possible. What they do? They lost 4 games last year or something. 13-4. Let's just say they go 13, right? 13 wins. Packers get 12 or 11, whatever. We're now the 3rd team fighting for the wild card. We don't get in the wild card because typically when you have 3 teams that close, only 2 make it in, just from statistics, because another division is strong. So by that standard, we didn't make the playoffs. Would you then think Caleb's not the guy? We jumped up by 3 wins.
Because the NFC is, if this is the AFC, maybe, but it's the NFC, man. You can have 3 teams realistically come from the NFC North and make playoffs.
But the likelihood is you don't see it often. It's very, very tough for 3.
Well, all I'm saying
what happens is that other division, like another division is so bad that they're able to get 1, and the second one, their record's so higher because the other 2 teams in it suck.
I'm not saying Caleb's a bust if we don't make the playoffs, because I see that. But I'm saying I personally would be disappointed. Now, if that scenario plays out where it's like, 10 wins and we were it's a stacked division and it's just like, and then it's just tough. Okay, I'm fine. If we're in it to like the last minute in the 4th quarter where it's like, we need this to happen and we need to win this game and win this game, and and the other game doesn't fall our way, I'm cool with it. I'll be pissed off because I want some playoff football. Of
course.
But I'm telling you this, I'll just be disappointed if we don't make the playoffs because of just how, they're not even done adding. I think they still have ample cap space available. Sure, the Keenan Allen extension, once we get those numbers, it could even go down if they get an extension, which Keenan Allen, which we didn't even talk about really, but he may have that extension here in a couple weeks, maybe. I don't know.
Possibly.
It's looking like it. And then you have more additions coming through the draft, perhaps even another free agent or 2 signing. Chase Young is still available. It's perhaps a 1-year deal. So for me, playoffs are bust. No, not for Caleb, but for me, I'd be a little disappointed. So.
Oh, no, I agree. So I think that's where the issue was. I didn't clarify enough in the tweet.
But that
to be
right
like,
there.
I'm gonna be mad.
I know.
I'm gonna be mad. You think I don't want my team to go to the playoffs? Like, come on now. With how stacked they are, come on.
This goes to show you, Ficky and Jack, how well Ryan Poles and company have set this team up for a rookie quarterback. We're talking about playoffs, man. We're talking about, I saw a graph here, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore being one of the top wide receiver duos, top 4. I think it was 4 duos, AJ Brown,
Eagles,
Smith.
Dolphins. You have Eagles, Dolphins, Rams. So you have
and then
Puka and Bengals. Yeah.
The Bears are in that conversation. And then you have a rookie quarterback coming. It's like, that's why we're having this playoffs or bust mentality. And that's a good thing to have. And for me, if Caleb is who we think he is and who everyone think he is, wow. It could be electric. That's
the funny thing is. Oh, so go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I'm excited.
He was just saying Fields till I die.
Yeah.
Relax.
I got some bad news for you, buddy.
Yeah, you sign down and he becomes an anti-Fields guy.
What sign?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
man. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, Jack. I like the idea of maybe building around Justin and getting that haul again. But I've been like I said, I've been excited about Caleb, and now it's like, here we are. Now it's a real thing. And so, but I am just busting, giving you a hard time.
Hey, you know the funny thing is though, I actually think, right, like if I was a betting man, I would think that we're probably going to get at like the 7th seed. We could easily sneak in 7 or 6, right? I don't think we're winning the division. I don't think we're winning the division. Let me put that out there. Doesn't mean we can't. I just don't think, you have to prove it to me, right?
The division is stacked.
It's pretty good. Even
look at the Vikings too. Say they get JJ McCarthy. Or worse, Jaden Daniels.
I would
say
not
somehow they
Jaden Daniels in this division because basically that's a Fields 2.0. So that'll be interesting
with Justin Jefferson. And
anybody with Justin Jefferson.
And who's the other receiver? Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison.
Yeah,
you got Hawkinson. Yep.
That NFC North is going to be a fucking bloodbath if they get their.
But it already was. I mean, it was last year. Look at the
but the Bears were kind of like.
We still got 7 wins. I think what the Vikings
and we were fighting. Yeah, and we were playing real tough against the Lions.
Yeah, and then you have 2 teams that made it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
like 2. Yeah, it's already tough. Like it's that. I think that's. I'm gonna be honest. That's probably why Kirk was like, deuces. Like I'm gonna go to the. I'm going to the NFC South where it's indoors. I mean, the Vikings was indoors too, but I'm going to go down to NFC South where every year they're like, bro, who's winning this division? It's garbage, right? It makes sense. Yeah. Like, let me, first off, they're going to pay me that money, which is crazy. And then I'm going to.
Jack, I want to bring this up, and I don't know how long you want to stay in on video, but I'm going to keep you until you want to go. You brought up Marvin Harrison Jr. You tweeted it last night about there being a possibility. You know, it's unlikely. Talk to me. Like, do you really, is that something you would want them to do? Would you want to give up maybe a 2025 draft capital to kind of move up at maybe to pick number 5, like I think you suggested? Because in your tweet, you had Marvin Harrison liked about how I think Caleb Williams was set up in the best scenario, which I said, I believe it is. I know there's Brock Purdy. I know there's Patrick Mahomes, but I'm like, I think it's up there. You can argue all 3 of those in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But do you want them to do that?
I don't see why not. Like everyone, again, it's so unlikely. And I said that. And if you look at my tweet, all caps, it's not going to happen. I said that it's not happening. But if it does, man, it's like we're set in stone for a while. You know, like we don't need to sit there and focus on offensive guys. Like DeAndre Swift, I think, was a 2020 draft guy. And then if we land, I don't know who our wide receiver 3 would be, but still DJ's young. Keenan's an older guy, but, you know, he'll still be around for a few years. It's like, let's set a base. Like, let's set base up here and just work with what we've got. Like the Rams sort of did that, which scares me. Like when they dumped all the picks on like McVay, when they were into the Super Bowl, McVay dumped everything out just for that Super Bowl. And now they're sort of stuck. And like they got lucky on Puka, and then they have some other signings that are pretty nice. Kyron got lucky on, same kind of thing. But like, why not? Like what would, and it's tough because we don't have too much to give. But somebody said it in my comment section. I don't remember specifically. It was like, give them the 9, give them the second next year, and then another pick, like 3 total picks, 9 second next year, and something else. And it's why not? You know, that's my thought.
Marvin. No, I'm cool with it if it's for Marvin. I don't want again that, but again, I'm not a scout either, so I trust.
But I'm fine with the Dunze too, and not giving up capital. So like either way, but. My God, with that, I mean, just imagine them on Madden,
imagine them on Madden now. They have X Factor,
Keenan Allen, and
DJ superstar. Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore's a superstar. Keenan Allen's an X Factor. I mean, like they've got.
It's fun. They're disgusting.
Yeah,
and you have Caleb Williams.
It's so young, and the offense specifically is so freaking young, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's like that would be. Yeah. That's life-changing shit. If that happens, that's something that like you tell your kids about or your grandkids.
How much help does Caleb Williams need? That's what I'm asking.
You know what's interesting?
Of course you are.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though that we have to think about because who had this recently? Because now we have 2 picks in the top 10. If you hit on both of them, right, you have to pay them both at the same time. So this is thinking really far down the road, right? But the first 3 years, you're not worrying about that issue. But once you get to year 4, you're obviously, if Caleb's balling, you're paying Caleb first. Does that especially with wide receivers, because those are both big money deals, right? Premier positions. Are you going to be able to keep both of them on the squad? And maybe I'm thinking too far ahead because that's obviously half a decade from now. but I just thought about that. It's pretty far. But I'm like,
the salary cap will be more.
It will be more, but what they'll be asking for will be more as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that Justin Jefferson contract is going to be crazy here.
Facts. So I guess that's a problem to have. I think I'm just kind of speculating here because both your guys are falling out.
That's a problem for podcast episode 304 something like that. Where are we on 64 right now?
Way farther, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably out.
Well, clip this and remember when we get there.
We'll bring it up. But hey, Ficky saw this shit, and now we're dealing with it. But hey, let's go ahead and get to our questions, if that's all right, Jack. And then we'll kind of finish the show. I think we're going on like an hour and a half. But before we get to our questions, if you guys, a lot of new people, if you're enjoying the content, please, if you can, just hit that like button. It really does help grow the channel. And then, of course, Apple, Spotify, we're over there if you want to check us out. And I believe we have probably some new face gang. I presume we have quite a few. Okay.
Yeah. You mind throwing them up?
Appreciate you all, though.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks, everyone in here.
All right. So the first one I want to do is this paragraph that this guy wrote.
Okay.
So this was a while ago. He spent too much time for us to not cover it.
All right, fair enough. So this is from Derek Marcellus from Facebook. Said the NFL as it stands today, if you don't have the guy, a special QB, you are not winning a championship. It's largely been names like Mahomes, Brady, Manning, Breeze, Roethlisberger, Aikman, Elway, Montana, Favre, Bradshaw. There's only been a handful of non-superstar QBs to win the Super Bowl in the last 30 years or more. So if you don't think you have one and you think Caleb is that guy, you got to go for it. Spot on. I think the last big name would have been Trent Dilfer, 2000 Ravens. Does that sound right? And then the 1999 Bucks, who'd they win with? With Lovey Smith was the defensive coach on that team with Tony Dungy as the head coach. I can't remember, but yeah, it's been a minute. Is basically my point. Okay, yeah. So it's been a minute. You normally have to have that guy. Actually, I'm lying. The last one to do it, we then signed Nick Foles against the great Tom Brady with the Eagles. That was the last one, but he's got a good point. You need that guy. You need that guy to consistently be in position to win the Super Bowl. And we just saw that this year. Brock Purdy couldn't do it. Not saying he's not a good quarterback, but you're going against a great quarterback, and look what happened. So they find a way to win. I think that's a fair point.
Great point, actually. I like it. I appreciate you just taking the time to comment that.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Good. With no typos either. That's impressive because I would have had like 50 in there. Okay, so we have. Oh, sorry, Dave. Not Dave. Jack, we bring up the new face gangs first, and then we'll go to these questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Police
just because we can fly through those a little bit better. Yep. So we have Olivia on YouTube said #new face gang. Appreciate Olivia. Thanks for hopping on. Then we got Rudy on YouTube said OG. What's up, Rudy? Appreciate that. And how do you say, is that Faf? Faf the fourth?
Faf, yeah.
Yeah, that's a dope ass last name. Illinois Jones, who I've definitely seen here before on YouTube with the #OG. Appreciate that. Gage with the #OG. New to watching, usually listen to it on Audible. So I appreciate that. We do appreciate our Audible listeners as well. Spotify.
I'll be honest, man. I always forget about Audible. I do. That's on me, though.
That's okay. It's all good. We're everywhere, though, so that's good. You can find us everywhere. Nunu Johnson said, this is my second time listening. So #mini OG, LOL. Love that. Appreciate it. Hey, I see your avatar, though.
Got to change it.
Change that one. Yep, might have to change that one.
JJ McCarthy season.
Yeah, JJ Spencer Rattler season, right, guys? All right, we have Justin Kuster here with the #OG. Appreciate that. Is that Mello? That is Carmelo. Okay.
Or two.
Reggie. It almost looks like Nazi era image, to be honest. But that's Carmelo. First time watching. So #OG. Appreciate that, Reggie.
Appreciate it, Reggie.
Jay on YouTube, new to the pod, enjoyed it. Subscribed in 5 minutes. Wow, that's quick. Really do appreciate that. Thank you for hopping on.
All
and
right,
is that it? Perfect. All right, let's go to the questions. Appreciate that. Thanks, everyone, for sharing those. All right, Gage, who I think just gave us an OG in here, has a question on YouTube. Second live podcast watched. I usually listen to on Audible. Another Audible listener. Actually, it may have been the same one. But love the podcast. Do you guys think failing Fields is on polls or pace?
No.
I think we both would say both, but here's a better. Let me rephrase it if you don't mind. Who's more to blame? Do you go polls or pace?
Oh, polls.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he tore it down. He had to do it, and it was smart, but it's like Pace brought him in. And, I mean, you could still say, he had A-Rob, he had all these guys, but, Justin's second season in, dude, it's like, sorry, you're not having anything. No playmakers. You're going to have to go out and do it yourself. I mean, Byron Pringle, Darnell Mooney, ESB.
Dante was back.
Dante Pettis.
I think that's it.
Else? No, there's some. Who's the guy that fumbled?
Emir Marset.
Thank you. I had to give, and then Bayless Jones
Jr. stolen from him on the sideline.
Yeah, man. So I mean, like and I'm not saying it was Poles is a great GM, but it's like if you're talking about blame here, I mean Pace maybe because he brought him in and this turmoil that's fine, but it's like no, the guy that pulled the trigger and really I feel like if you want to talk about it, really kind of delayed the development of Justin Fields because of that 2022 season and a lot of bad habits, even though it was electric, probably were developed even more, or even set in concrete in regards to him maybe bailing out of the pocket early, his lack of progression in the passing game, his anticipation. Then you got Luke Getsy, who was, I thought, interesting in year 2 or in year 1, but then it's like, that was a fluke. So what about you, Ficky?
Yeah, I'm going to go I 100% agree with you on that. I'm going to go the opposite just to be a devil's advocate and say Pace, and this is crazy because I'm going to say you shouldn't have drafted him. Let's be real. You shouldn't have. Let's be real. You know you're on your way out. Don't bring him in. Don't bring him in.
Yeah.
Also, you fucked up our future picks. You're on your way out, and now the next year we don't have a first. So you kind of took a shit in the bed and left. That's how I view it. Like, come on, bro. Jack, what do you think? Yeah, right?
Twice a year.
Yeah, it's a weird. I mean, it's sort of like both sides make sense. I mean, Poles tore it down and then tried to build it back up. Did everything he could to get Fields a guy and DJ, and I mean everything he could strong. But I agree with you though. Why draft him? I guess it makes sense. Like it's like you're on the chopping block. Let's make a push. Let's try to move up at 11 and grab Justin. But yeah, I mean, sort of the same thing as both of them. Both of them let him down.
Well, yeah, they both have 100%. They're both to blame. Let's be real. But just for the sake of discussion, they both kind of did bad. At least this is my thing. Poles at least did it with right intentions of the Chicago Bears, right in mind, not Fields. I don't know who. I think Pace did it in the intentions of I need to save my job. So I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I'm like, Poles is doing because he's trying to make this team better in year 2 and 3. You did it because you're trying to extend your contract. So yeah, but blame to go around for sure.
Someone in the comments mentioned N'Keal Harry there as one of the receivers.
Oh yeah,
I remember there's Twitter blowing up, being like, "Holy shit, we just got a former first-round pick. Like, we're gonna turn him around. This is the year." I remember that vividly. See where we came or start where we come from.
He had like 2 big plays, so that's what we got with N'Keal Harry. All right, Bruce Williams on Facebook said, question, if Washington comes calling, do we trade down to number 2 to pick up an extra pick or 2, then draft Jaden Daniels? I'm going to start with you, Jack. Go ahead. What's your thoughts there?
I almost want to hear Dave because, I mean, I think he would be sick if we got Jaden Daniels or Drake.
I told you I would be I'll be going to Pitt.
I know you'd be sick.
So
I'm in the
for real. No.
And while you're going to Pitt,
Bruce.
Okay.
What do you say?
No, I was going to say, while you're going to Pitt, I'd be going to a rehab clinic because I would not be mentally okay. Let's be real. This is if we went through this whole offseason, what we just went through, this civil war, and it comes down to that's the result. No, it would be hard for me to support this team. I will, but it'll be hard. But thanks for the question, though. We appreciate it, Bruce.
Yeah. No way. All right.
Okay. Ruben Esparza on Twitter said, what are some downsides to Caleb? Any red flags? I will say this. There's red flags. No, I don't think so. But there's always, there's no such thing as a perfect prospect. So you can look at all these prospects and be like, well, they don't do this well. Of course.
Caleb's pretty close.
Prospects. So, let's start.
Caleb's pretty close.
Yeah. You guys see any red flags, anyone?
No, the only red flag is, he's a rookie. It's going to take a transition, maybe a little bit slower, but it also could be like a rocket, could take off really quickly with this roster and what they surrounded him. So I don't see anything. I think we should be excited. That's it.
I agree. Yep, 100% agree.
So, but guys, he paints his nails.
Dude,
I had to throw that in there.
Honestly, honest to God, I was about to wake up this morning. If I was not coming back, from a little mini vacation, which got a flat tire. This is why this show was pushed a little bit late. It's just been crazy. I honestly was like, you know what? I'm going to post. I might do this too. I'm going to post my hand on Twitter and it's going to be painted. I'm like, ready for the new era. Like, let's go. I'm serious.
Yeah, that's how you get some engagement.
Get them riled up. I'm serious.
Hell yeah.
Fuck Green Bay. Gonna get them painted right here. Going to the shop, man. But
someone did say in the chat, and it's true. I saw it on Twitter a few days ago, but fumbling with Caleb is a problem. And then people were comparing it to Josh Allen, because Allen sort of the similar way and was in college as well. I think he had like 31 fumbles or something like that.
He had a shit ton.
Yeah. I mean,
a good amount.
You muted.
I was watching a run on Caleb.
Dave, time out. We're counting that. I'm counting that.
Counting what?
That's a mute.
I'm moving on. Baby. But no, Caleb Williams. There was a run I was watching late last night, and he was just, that ball was just like, he was just holding it like no security on that. I was like, that cannot happen in the NFL.
Walter Payton pulled it off. He always held it.
I think it was
grip it like this. I'm like, bro.
The run I'm referring to was the one against Notre Dame last year.
Oh, in the second half, I remember.
Where he's like holding the ball like that, but it's like there's traffic around him. It's tight, and he's just like juking, which crazy run, an awesome run. Which that's what I'm excited about. Like Justin, I was gonna miss the running. I know that's probably weird to say, but it's like it was electric. No. Caleb has that ability where it's like you look at his mixtape, right, or his highlights. Like he's spinning, he's making people miss, make him look silly. He's got some really sudden movement. So, anyways, next question.
I think the difference is, like, they're both shifty in the pocket, which is great. The difference is Fields would then be like, I'm taking off, which is totally fine because he would outrun everyone on the
he
field.
Has that
breakaway speed. Caleb is still looking downfield most of the time. That man break, look, and throws like a 50-yard bomb. So,
but it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, Fields has that gear no one else can get to. Now, I don't even think Lamar can really get to that gear when it's coming to that breakaway speed. So
4.35 40. He has the fourth fastest 40 in NFL for QBs.
I think he's a little bit faster too sometimes, man.
On the field, absolutely, no question. But speaking of questions, Jack, you can pull up the next one. Thank you. Nano CBD on YouTube. Question: would you have picked up Fields' fifth-year option for $25 million? How can you justify that?
I wouldn't have picked it up.
Not with Caleb at being at one. No. If like we said, if we're pick 3 or later, pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't pick it up. That's why it made the most logical sense to be where we are now. So be interesting if Pitt does, but doubt it.
Yeah, that is a great question, especially if they do that if they do an extension. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but they also didn't give much. They didn't give much up for Fields, so they could just toss him. Hopefully not. But all right, what's the next one?
All right, this is next and last.
Okay, best for last. Adrian on YouTube said, "Guys, I have a question. Do you think the Bears purposely set their system at the start of the season to see if Justin can sink or swim to be a pocket passer? They called 2 RPOs in the first 3 games. You know what? That is I
don't think they did it on purpose, but I think that's why Luke Getsy is no longer here, because I know he has another job. That's fine. Good luck in Las Vegas. What the fuck? I don't care about Luke Getsy at all. But for me, you saw it last year. I don't believe in him as a play caller. Wish him the best. But I don't think it was on purpose. It was just like, what was it? The Bucks game where he called another screen
back to back.
Yeah, it's like that right there is basically it highlights exactly how fucked up last year was offensively at certain points. It was just like flashes of just like really like, I can't believe this was the play call, right? And there's moments where it's like, okay, I can see it. Good job, Getsy. You hand clap, golf clap, but it's like at the end, it was too many times last year where we're like asking ourselves, shaking our head, like, what is this? So
follow-up question then. Do you think Jack, you can't laugh. Yeah, you don't even know what the question is. Do you think that there were so many screens called because Luke Getsy did not think Justin Fields could pass the ball downfield or trust him? Not his deep ball. He's good at deep ball, but like,
I definitely think so. I mean, at least some of the plays had to have been that. I mean, some of it was a bit excessive. Like, he's an NFL quarterback. 32 people in the world have an NFL starting quarterback job. So, I mean, let the guy throw, for God's sakes. But yeah, definitely. There was a lack of trust. And I mean, he missed some, but he definitely hit some deep throws that were just awesome. And I don't know why they didn't try that more last year.
Yeah, I know, like, to the middle of the field, that was definitely his weakness, but like outer boundaries, that bro was throwing darts even near the end of the season. So I didn't understand why we did so many screens. Dave, what's your thoughts
on what? I just blanked out on this Lou Getsy.
No, you're good. Yeah. Do you think the reason why we called so many screens was because Luke Getsy didn't trust that field's capacity?
No. If he did, the shame on him. No.
You just think it was bad. You just think he was like, I want screens. You don't think?
I think he thought he's just like, this is going to work. This is going to work. This is going to work. You know,
to be fair,
because if you want to be honest, Justin, if you want to talk about his issues, like him getting the ball out quick, that wasn't really a strength. You know, you saw it. And I think even DJ talked about it. Like when we push the ball down the field, when we do what we can do, and I think that was one of his pressures at the end of the year, is like when we're able to throw and really threaten the defense, that's when we're at our best. And everyone was like, light bulb. Justin, Caleb is a lot different, where it's like release is insane. That's what I'm most excited about, honestly, with him, is because it's like Aaron Rodgers-esque arm angles. We talk about it. But with Justin, it's like he kept on doing things that just were not to the benefit of his quarterback. And sure, that's on Fields too, because like you got to be able to do that at this point, or at this time in the league, and in regards to like 2024 playing football, getting the ball out on time, quick to your receivers, your playmakers is important. But it's like Justin was not comfortable, and you saw so many times where it's like he gets the ball out and it's like behind a player, or it hits the ground, batted down, but then you saw that Atlanta game, right, where it's like I feel like they're pushing it vertically in the fucking snow, nonetheless. But it's like you saw it right then and there what Justin was good at. So for me, I think you said it, Jack. One of his strengths was pushing the ball deep, his deep ball. Sure, he missed a couple, but he was on point, man. So, and then his weakest point was the short stuff, right, or the middle of the field per se. So I think that's an indictment on Getsy. And sure, maybe he finds a quarterback that it works for his system a little bit better, but it wasn't working for Justin. He kept on going back to it. So,
who's the quarterback in the Raiders? Gardner Minshew, right? Is that who it is? So good luck. Yo, but I have breaking news here. Kind of breaking news. Ian Rappaport, 1 minute ago, tweeted about the Justin Fields trade. Said, important note on the Justin Fields trade. At least 4 additional teams inquired about trading for Fields, but Fields' representation asked for him to not be traded there. He wanted the Steelers, and the Bears did right by him.
Wow.
There it is.
Shout out to Poles.
Yeah, but man, what you got to wonder, like, what were the other offers? They couldn't have been astounding, I guess, because Poles might have been like, you know what, love you, kid, but
that's what I told Dave. If it's like a third rounder, Poles is not. I'm sorry, Fields, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, right.
But it was probably the teams that we think. Raiders probably didn't want to go there. Getsy's there, probably didn't want to go there. So you have Raiders, Steelers, Eagles. I think he would have been the backup, right? Because there was one like team with a really great starter, and they already had interest. Probably didn't want to go there because he's not going to play. Falcons to begin with, but they got Kirk. And there's one more team that I'm missing. Who's the Seattle?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I could be wrong. There might be some random team in there that we don't know about, but that would be my guess. But you know what? That puts to rest. I mean, we started the show with that, like the intention behind Poles. That puts to rest, like, nah, Poles is like, hey, I'm trying to get you to where you want to go, and let's just I got to iron out the details. And that's why it took so long. I think, though, the biggest thing, the first domino that fell, if Kirk does not go to the Falcons, I think he is a Falcon. Because he may not want to go there. I think he would be fine with that because it's his hometown. But the value for the Falcons would have been much higher than some of these other ones because he would have been a starter there. Do you guys agree, or you think there's another team?
Oh yeah,
dark horse?
Gabe tweeted it too. Imagine them on Madden.
Oh, dirty, bro.
Dude,
tweeted that a long time ago. But
I think, and if you look at the his podcast with the St. Brown brothers, where he talked about Atlanta, and he specifically started naming the weapons, and he said, they're kind of tough, dude. Like, they got some players, they're a receiver away. And then guess what? Darnell Mooney came, right?
Yeah, so it's like
tampering that. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that crazy? Kirk Cousins literally reached out to Darnell and was like, "Yo, I'm going to Atlanta. Come with." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't blame him." But
Darnell's, I think he's gonna have a sneaky good like bounce back here. Dude.
Hell yeah,
nasty.
On paper, the Falcons can do some things. The defense, we talked about it because when Fields was going to play the Falcons this last year, we we're like, yo, he's about to face a top 10 defense, right? So we talked about it like this is your resume game, right? You need to go out there and ball, have extra motivation because this might be the team you're playing for next year. And he did, obviously. That was what, 313-yard game, so he definitely did that. But they have a lot of pieces. They just unfortunately had Desmond Ridder and Matt Heineke as their quarterbacks last year. So, and now they have Kirk O'Chains. And Arthur Smith. They got rid of all of those and brought in Kirk O'Chain. So should be a good year for them. So That's all I got. I think that's all the questions, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah. Well, let me go ahead and I think that's all the topics we're gonna hit on. So we'll be back. Obviously excited about the Keenan Allen trade. We didn't talk much about it, but you guys know, I mean, there's not much to say. It's exciting. It's exciting. So if you guys enjoyed the what do you say, Ficky?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Obviously, sorry we couldn't get it late last night. That's my fault. But we are excited to be able to talk to you guys today. It's been a crazy chat. So many people. We appreciate it. So we'll be back next week to kind of just obviously probably talk about the draft. It's finally here. So we'll start doing some mock drafts on the channel. And we'll do them together. You guys will help us. We'll do quite a few, I'm sure. So as far as is where to find us, you can find Ficky at It's Ficky Baby on all socials. Jack on all socials at Jack Scroggs _, and of course myself at Dave _BFR pod or BFR. And then of course the BFR pod is on all socials at BFR _pod on Instagram, TikTok, really popping off over there on those socials. So we appreciate the support. Twitter's at over 10,000 followers. So crazy love. And we'll be back again, like I said, here soon, hopefully with some fun guests lined up as well. So if you are here though on YouTube, I know I said it before, hit the like button. It really does help grow the community, grow the platform. So a lot of fun stuff in April draft time. I know Ficky touched on it in the last couple pods, but there's a lot of stuff in the works that we're excited to kind of share on draft day. We're going to give it till then, start of the new season for us and of course for the Bears essentially. So boys, anything else?
Caleb Williams season, get ready. That's all we got.
All right, boys. All right, we'll see you next week.
Peace.